The ocean didn't just sink the yacht, it devoured it. One moment, the deck glowed beneath lightning, the next, the hull split open with a shriek like metal dying. Sarah hit the water hard, the breath knocked out of her as the Pacific tried to swallow her whole. The cold was so violent it burned. For a heartbeat, she didn't know which way was up, only darkness, and the faint memory of laughter just before the storm hit. Then her life vest yanked her to the surface. The world above was chaos, black sky, white waves, and thunder that sounded like something alive was crawling through the clouds. Marcus? Elena? David, she screamed, but her voice vanished into the storm. A hand grabbed her shoulder. She twisted, ready to fight, then saw David's pale face, wide-eyed and terrified. Together they fought the waves until their legs touched sand. They crawled onto shore like newborns, gasping, coughing, shaking. Marcus came next, dragging Elena. The captain's face looked carved from salt and exhaustion, his grey beard dripping. Elena's head bled freely, crimson streaking through rain. "My samples," she whispered, dazed. "The radio?" "We're alive," Marcus rasped. "That's all that matters tonight." Sarah glanced at the sea. "Where's Tommy?" Marcus didn't answer right away. "He'll make it," he said finally. "He's a strong swimmer." But there was no conviction in his voice. The storm howled across the island, an island that rose from the black water like the spine of some dead thing. They found a shallow cave among twisted rocks, just enough to keep them dry. As Sarah's flashlight swept the walls, she froze. Carvings, spirals, figures with mouths stretched impossibly wide, their faces caught in eternal screams. Elena stared at them. "These aren't decorative," she said softly. "They're warnings." No one spoke after that. They listened to the storm's rage and tried to sleep. Sarah dreamed of voices under the waves whispering her name, sweet as lullabies. When morning came, the silence felt wrong. No birds. No insects. Not even wind. The jungle beyond the beach stood still, as if holding its breath. They scavenged what they could, fragments of wreckage, a half-crushed cooler with sealed rations, a torn sail. No sign of the emergency beacon. No sign of Tommy. "He's out there somewhere," Sarah said. "He has to be." Marcus shook his head slightly. "We need fresh water before we search again." They pushed into the jungle. The air was heavy and sweet with rot. The trees grew close together, twisted into shapes that made the eye ache. Some of them leaned, bent toward the group as they passed. Then David froze. "What the hell is that?" Hanging from the branches were dolls, dozens of them, made of bone, driftwood, and what looked like human hair. Every face was carved into a perfect O, mouths open in silent screams. Sarah reached out before she could stop herself, brushing one with her fingers. The doll turned its head. She screamed and stumbled back, and now they all saw it, the entire canopy seemed to move. The doll swayed, turning toward them, mouths widening. "Elena," Marcus said quietly. "We're leaving." As they backed away, a faint sound began, like wind chimes. But it wasn't wind. It was clicking. Whispering. Laughter. They broke into a run. When they burst into a clearing, Sarah fell to her knees. Stone ruins jutted from the ground, covered in moss and spirals identical to those in the cave. In the center lay an altar, a flat slab stained black. Around it were bodies. Dozens of them. Mummified, their skin leathery and stretched tight, their mouths frozen open mid-scream. "Jesus," David whispered. These are people." Elena crouched beside one, touching the decayed sleeve of a jacket. "Modern fabric. Not ancient." She looked up, trembling. "These are recent." Then one of the corpses moved. Its hand twitched. Its head turned. The jaw creaked open. And a whisper came, not from its mouth, but from the trees, from the air, from everywhere. Run while you still can. The island is hungry. They didn't wait. By midday, they found him, Tommy, stumbling from the jungle, soaked in blood and fear. Tommy! Sarah cried, rushing to him. He collapsed against her. There's something wrong here, he gasped. I saw things. Faces in the trees. Voices that sound like you. Marcus steadied him. You're safe now. Tommy shook his head. No one's safe. I found a boat on the north shore. Small, old, but real. If we leave before night. A scream cut through the air. Female. Human. They followed the sound to the ruins and found a woman slumped against a tree, her leg broken. When she saw them, she tried to crawl away. Please, she whispered, please stop singing. Elena raised her hands. We're not here to hurt you. We're survivors. The woman blinked. You're real? What's your name? Sarah asked. Rebecca, she said, voice trembling. We came 3 days ago. A research team. We heard children singing the first night. Thought there was a village. Her eyes unfocused. There wasn't. What did you see? Marcus asked quietly. Rebecca's lip quivered. They looked like children until they smiled. The silence that followed was unbearable. They took my team, she said. All of them. The island gets inside your head. It shows you hope. It shows you what you want. And then it eats you. Tommy swallowed hard. You're wrong. I saw the boat. Rebecca laughed, a dry, broken sound. That's how it starts. Then came the singing. Soft. Sweet. Close. Voices of children echoing through the trees. Rebecca gripped Sarah's hand. Don't look at them. Don't listen. The moment you start to believe, you're gone. They fled. The jungle twisted around them, paths doubling back, trees whispering their names. When they found the cave, Marcus didn't hesitate. In. Now. Inside, walls glistened like wet skin. Symbols were carved into the flesh, warnings in a dozen languages, words etched by shaking hands. The tunnel sloped downward. The deeper they went, the more the air pulsed, warm, damp, alive. Rebecca was limping badly. Something's following us, she whispered. Then the ground shifted beneath her feet. She screamed and vanished. Rebecca! Sarah shouted. A face bulged from the wall, her face, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent cry before it melted back into the flesh. David broke first, sprinting ahead. The tunnel constricted, breathing around them. Hands made of bone and shadow reached from the walls, seizing him by the legs. Help me, he screamed. Elena grabbed him, but the hands dragged harder, pulling him into the floor. He vanished beneath the skin of the island, his last breath bubbling through the surface. Keep moving. Marcus barked, shoving Sarah forward. A figure dropped from the ceiling, spider-limbed, child-faced, grinning. It landed on Tommy, and he went down screaming. The creature's mouth split open from ear to ear and swallowed his head whole. When it lifted its gaze, Tommy's eyes looked out from inside it. Run, it said in his voice. They did. Sarah, Elena, and Marcus burst into a vast chamber that pulsed like a heartbeat. At its center hung the heart, a monstrous organ fused into the stone, veins of black crystal spreading like infection. Faces shifted beneath its translucent surface, David, Rebecca, Tommy, screaming silently inside. The voice came not through their ears, but straight into their minds. 3 more. Feed me. Marcus's lighter shook in his hand. Sarah, end it. The ghosts reached toward her, mouthing one word, burn. Sarah lit the flame. The smell of fuel, sweat, and fear filled her lungs. Do it. Marcus roared. She pressed the lighter to the heart. It ignited instantly, black fire spreading like veins of oil. The scream that followed wasn't sound. It was pressure, madness, the feeling of something vast and ancient dying. The ghosts dissolved, faces softening into peace. Rebecca's lips formed one last thank you before she vanished. The island began to collapse. Marcus dragged Elena and Sarah toward the surface as fire chased them through the tunnels. Flesh split. Stone shattered. The jungle above caught flame, screaming like a living thing. They hit the beach just as the island cracked in two. Into the water. Marcus shouted. They dove as the land imploded behind them. Smoke, ash, and boiling waves swallowed what had once been the island. When Sarah surfaced, gasping, there was nothing left but open ocean and the faint sound of crying wind. A ship horn blared in the distance. A cargo vessel. Rescue. We did it, Elena whispered. Marcus floated nearby, bleeding, smiling faintly. No, he said softly. We survived. That's not the same thing. 2 weeks later, Sarah sat in a hospital bed staring out at the Pacific. The doctors called it exhaustion, trauma, dehydration. The Coast Guard found no trace of the island, not even a reef. Sometimes, at night, when she closed her eyes, she heard children singing under the hum of the hospital lights. Sometimes, she caught her reflection whispering something she couldn't quite make out. And sometimes, if she listened long enough, she heard it, a heartbeat. Faint. Slow. Coming from the ocean.